Get the tingle going. So my first question, is my voice as whiny as it sounds?
I think your voice sounds beautiful.
Got that honey in your voice. Well, welcome back for week 2.
Welcome back.
Survived the pilot
2?
episode. Yeah.
So
Revenge
far,
of the
so
Sith.
good. Yeah.
How was your week?
It's pretty good, man. I was gonna tell you, I shot a 30 this weekend.
Ooh.
Only played 6 holes.
That's not bad though.
Still pretty good, yeah.
That's
so
a
we're
night-
going
I
to
mean-
play. We're trying to play 9, but it's this course. It's called Hancock. It's like a walking course.
Mhm.
It's a 9-hole course. Yeah, I know, it's kind of funny. But there was so many people out there because it was like the first beautiful day in spring, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Spring's coming, right?
Spring.
It was the first beautiful day in winter. And yeah, so we didn't have time to play 9 holes. We only got to play 6, but shot at 30.
Wow.
Had a good par and then a lot of bogeys. So pretty good though.
What were your golf goals for the year?
I didn't have any. My golf goal
Oh.
for last year was to break 90, and I didn't do it. So
Oh no.
I had 92 like 4 times.
Oh no.
I don't know. I do better if I just show up and ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like competing. I love the juice. Like going into my soccer season, I was like, I'm gonna be calm this year. I'm over 30, and then the first bad call, I'm like, what are we calling? What is that?
Yeah.
So I am who I am. I need the juice.
Yeah, bro.
My goals are to break 95 times this year. I've broken it 4 times so far in my life. So with my putting green and my net,
That's pretty solid.
yeah, I should be practicing enough. I'm 1 for 1. I played 1 round, unfortunately, is all so far. And I've broken, and I got an 88. So far, so good.
So far,
That's my main goal. Yeah. Did I tell you I won Teacher of the Year last week?
You won 2 trivias or you won 1?
Teacher of the Year. Sorry, I teach middle school. Did I tell you that last week?
No.
Oh, well,
Actually,
I did.
I think I saw it on your wife's Instagram.
Stalking her? What are you doing?
She posted about you. No.
Oh, sorry.
And it was like the little green star. So I knew only the coolest friends could see it. So I was like, oh, I made the cut.
You did. You're our special star friend.
What
Thank you.
Did they like have a ceremony for you? Did you have to give a speech?
That is later on. I have to. So here's the funny part about winning stuff is then it makes your life harder because now I have to answer 5 questions, 500 words each, which is like a page. So now I have to write a 5-page essay on why I deserved District Teacher of the Year, which I won't win, but I still have to try. And so then apparently if you get that, then you got to do even more to try to win. I don't know if there's regionals, sectionals, or where you go. Where you go
District,
from there.
Regional, then state is usually how it works.
Yeah. So
I know you're still learning you're still learning the public school system, but yeah.
Yeah. What's good with you? Or we already do you?
Yeah. I mean, other than golf, yeah, I got a little back workout in today, which is nice. I told you I've been hitting the gym. I was trying to do 100 days straight. Did I tell you about that? It didn't.
How long did you last?
I'm 23 days in, but I've
LeBron or Michael?
I'm gonna go LeBron. But I've had 2 rest days because I hit a wall after like 14, 15 days. I was like, dude, everything is sore.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to relax for a couple of days. And so I gave myself a little grace, but
I'll have to get with you. I'll have to get with you on some home workouts because I did one in the garage this morning. I did chest and back as well.
Yeah.
And I feel good, but I figure I need to push it a little more.
I have them all written down. I write down every day. I've started doing that. So it's usually 30, 40 minutes. It's not like a crazy workout. It's just enough to like get going, essentially.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So let's be like Caitlyn Jenner and transition.
Let's hop in. You want to do Mavs first?
Yeah, let's do Mavs first because I watched a lot of highlights today, so I'm ready for this one.
Oh, nice. I'll preface with my take, and then you can interrupt me or however you want to do it. My thing with the Mavs that I said a couple years ago is I said Luka needs a Pippen.
Mm.
And I think we saw something close to that with Jalen Brunson in the 2022 run. They beat, who was it? Jazz?
Phoenix.
They beat Phoenix. They beat the crap out of Phoenix in 7. And then I think they lost to Golden State.
A clutch 3 by, what was it? Chris Paul to bring him to 40.
Oh, yeah, that was
They
it.
were up 43, and Chris Paul hits like a buzzer beater 3 to bring him down to 40.
Get him within like 50 points. But, yeah, I mean, I think what I'm getting at is I think Kyrie is now the Pippen.
You think so, huh?
I think if we get 2016 Kyrie, I think that they can make a run. I don't love the team. What's that?
It was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you think he's still got that in him?
Oh, I think he's just as good of a player now, if not better. But he also had LeBron James next to him, which makes
Luka might be the closest thing to LeBron we've had in, I don't know. He's got the size. He can score. He can pass. He can't defend. LeBron's, but
yeah.
So what do you think of the rest of the team? Because that's because Luka's a killer. Kyrie is clutch.
I brought up their roster. Tim Hardaway Jr. I got it open right now.
Mm-hmm.
I like the guys that I like. I like Derek Lively, who's the rookie, the center.
Yeah, he's good.
I like having a Markieff Morris on the team. I think if you get in a fight, you're going to win. But also, he's the type of guy, he'll come in the third quarter in a playoff game, score 9 points, and help you win a game.
Yeah.
And not play a minute all season. Grant Williams is supposed to be a great defender. The guy we got that used to be on Boston.
Bad season, man.
Kleber can hit buckets. Seth Curry can hit buckets. What do you usually need? Like 7 solid guys in the playoffs? 7 to 8?
Yeah, that's usually your rotation.
So I think the biggest challenge they're going to have is like the pure competition in the West.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Clippers now who are killing it. You got OKC and the Timberwolves who I don't think are going to win the playoffs at all. But that's the second and the third seed right now. Denver Nuggets, who could probably repeat. Phoenix with KD. And then if somehow LeBron gets into the playoffs, you can never count LeBron out of the playoffs.
I mean, Western Conference Finals last year.
Would I take them against any of those teams? Probably, maybe not. But
no.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful at the least. So that's my view of things. I think the Pippen piece, Kyrie fits that mold for me. They got an okay team. The biggest challenge is going to be the pure competition in the West.
Yeah. So I pretty much agree with you. The problems the Mavs have are of their own doing. So when Luka was a rookie, they traded all his first-round draft picks, 2 first-rounders for Porzingis. Didn't work, and it's okay to make trades that don't work. The problem is it's like going for 2 in the first quarter when you don't need to. You didn't let the game come to you. You tried to force it. He's still a first-year guy, and now you're blowing draft picks left and right. And then they already traded 2 to get Luka, or they traded the next draft pick. And so then it's just draft pick. So when the Mavs actually draft, they drafted Brunson, they drafted Luka, Lively's been a hit. So you draft well, but you keep trading all the picks away. And because you're forcing it. What's that?
I probably couldn't name. The other pick was Dorian Finney-Smith, right?
Mm-hmm. That was one of their picks,
Traded him away.
And so
that's a good point.
They're panicking. And you had on a rookie deal, and then you usually get an extension. So normally you have a guy for, I think, 8 years before he walks, if he walks. And it's kind of a little bit what looks like what Cleveland did to LeBron, where they kept panic shopping and didn't let a team really develop around him. They made a bad contract with Brunson where they couldn't re-sign him.
Yeah.
And then they just keep trading stuff away. So like Grant Williams has been very average. I really liked the signing. Everyone I think really liked the signing at first. Like, okay, this seems to fit exactly what the Mavericks need. The problem is
Right.
he's a big who doesn't really rebound, and he's supposed
Mm-hmm.
to defend and shoot the three well. And he is shooting the worst, I believe, in his career, which usually
True.
when you're with Luka, you improve that average because he gets you open looks. I mean, like Bullock jumped up, Dorian Finney-Smith jumped up when they had the threes. He somehow has done the reverse. And Luka's good, Kyrie's good, Lively's good.
It feels top heavy.
Very mid on the others. So when the Mavs made the run, Brunson stepped up. And then you had Maxi Kleba play great. You had Dorian Finney-Smith play great. You had Reggie Bullock hit 3 after 3. So you'll need, if the Mavs are to make a run, you'll need Luka to be dominant, which he can be.
Mm-hmm.
You need Kyrie to be dominant, which he can be. And you're going to need contributions from other players who haven't really shown it much in the last couple of years. And so that's where I think they're going to really struggle. Because like you said, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, I guess it's the Twin Cities, and Denver, they all do things the Mavs don't do well. They have big men who rebound and clog up the lane. So any one of those matchups, and then the Clippers might be the best team in the West this year because as long as Kawhi is actually healthy, and they look pretty good. So
that's what I've watched a couple of their games recently because I watched when Harden first got there. And it was obviously they lost like 5 games straight. It wasn't working out. And then I was like, okay, they've been like they went like 22-5 after that first stint.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, let me watch them play again. And I was like, wow. If Kawhi's playing like 2019 Raptors Kawhi, they're gonna be the team to beat. And then Denver's gonna turn it up again in the playoffs. So
and they have the biggest mismatch in the game with Jokic, so it'll be interesting to see how that all turns out. Because, like you said, Oklahoma City, they kind of did it the reverse of the Mavs. They just been real patient building it up, and we'll have to do one on Oklahoma City and how to tank properly, the right way to tank, unlike the 76ers who kind of stop the tank halfway through. I don't think they're ready to win.
Yeah,
and Minnesota, I don't know if they're ready to win. So
they didn't finish the process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think we kind of.
So you're saying, do the Mavs have what it takes to make it to the finals? Your answer would be
no. I'd be surprised. I think depending on who they get, they should make it out of the play-in.
Yeah.
And I'd be happy if they got into the second round. If they got out of the first round, I'd be pretty okay with that. And I do not think they should make a big trade for a rental player. That just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. The salary cap is changing. The team clearly has deficiencies. Just let's ride it out. Let's let it develop. Let's target a championship run in 2 years. Not this year, maybe not even next year. Try to build something instead of keep on trying to rent it.
I got you. I'm gonna say they have what it takes. They have what it takes if they can get through the competition of the West. And the good thing is, those first couple rounds, you make it out of the first round, a lot of those teams are gone. They've already beat up on each other. And so then it's just all about matchups, right?
Yeah, because that's honestly the matchups is what.
If they get
it right,
they got to get an OKC or a Timberwolves in the first round to have a chance.
Yeah, because I think Luka's such a killer. He thrives on blood and on road games. So I think we could take potentially, they're so much better than us record wise, but potentially we could take those two just because of inexperience. The Clippers always beaten us twice now, and the Nuggets are the defending champs. So wouldn't love those matchups.
Yeah. Getting over the hump with the Clippers is going to be really hard, especially now that they have Harden and Westbrook.
And Westbrook is playing phenomenal. They've played just lights out. the last 10 games. It seems like they've really turned it on.
They got to take advantage of Westbrook learning that he's no longer the guy with the Lakers. So by the time he showed up, they're like, "Hey, you're not the guy, but we'll take you."
Here's the other thing too. So I'm looking at their box score. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They had 9 players play 18 plus minutes. Like their depth is fantastic. Yeah. So the Mavs being so top heavy, once it gets rolling, you got Maxi Kleba and Grant Williams, as your. I just don't like it. Just makes me like cringe a little.
They got to make the playoffs first. So
yes.
Step 1, make the playoffs. We'll see.
They got to make the playoffs. If Kyrie's healthy, they have to make the playoffs. That'd be such a failure.
So, segue here. This past weekend was the first LIV Golf event of the year. My first time, I tuned in. I watched a little bit. I want to hear your perspective and what you think about the league in general, the development of it all. This was my first time watching it. So I'll let you know what I think, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
Okay, so background. The league started with Greg Norman. So he wanted to start his own golf league in the 90s. They shut it down.
I didn't realize that.
The PGA did. So he's been kind of at war with the PGA wanting to do this forever. And then around 2020, they came out with the Public Impact Fund. Basically, the Saudis funded it. And the Saudi Arabia has been funding a ton of stuff sports-wise. And they have basically limitless money. So that kind of keep that in mind as we talk about this. And so the PGA has been vulnerable because they don't give a ton of money, or they haven't been giving a ton of money to the players. So I read that they only gave 26% of their revenue to the players. After LIV started, they upped it to 55%. And then they started innovating. So they started doing different golf league ideas. There was this indoor type of golf idea they had with Rory and Tiger. I don't know where that stands. I should have looked that up.
I didn't look that up either. I saw a snippet on that, but
yeah, it looks interesting, kind of indoor and mix it up, a little futuristic.
Yeah.
And innovation always drives change. And usually, so I love the ABA, and I read a book on the ABA, the American Basketball Association, the rival to the NBA. And then there's also the WHA, the World Hockey Association, about the same time. Both these leagues started in the 70s. Their goal, the other leagues didn't want to merge, didn't want to allow new teams, wouldn't let them buy in. So they started their own league with the hope that they would merge. And the ABA merges into the NBA. The WHA merges into the NHL. And they keep the NHL and NBA name and the trophies. The problem the PGA has is that the majors are their own thing. So they don't control the big tournaments that people want to win. And so when players like Bryson DeChambeau or Dustin Johnson, who've won majors and then have automatic qualifying for majors for years, they have no reason to continue in the PGA, especially when they're offered $100 million to go elsewhere. Brooks Koepka talked about that in the show Full Swing, where he says, I really just want to win majors. And so you don't have control over the biggest prize. The problem with the ABA is no one really knows what the ABA championship trophy looks like. You don't really count it. I mean, you do, but you don't, Same thing with the WHA. It's not the Stanley Cup. But, so mostly players who were, halfway loved, controversial. Like, I actually like Bryson DeChambeau, but most people hate him. Yeah. Brooks Koepka is very unlikable. Dustin Johnson's fine.
I like Koepka.
Oh, I can't stand him, but that's just because I like him and DeChambeau, and I picked the other side.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Good. But the problem is when someone like John Rahm, who just turned, he just flipped, and his reason was basically, well, I've qualified for the Masters for life. I've qualified for the U.S. Open until 2031. I'm good. I might as well take the money, and the rules are better set up for the players. So I don't see. I think LIV will. I don't see the downside. So I think that there will
He
either be
also got
one.
paid like $300 million.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and that's the thing. You're playing with unlimited money, so that's the difference between Live and the ABA. The ABA ran out of money and got
yeah,
merged right at the end. Live is going to win either outright or with some sort of merger where they actually take some power
yeah,
because they have the resources and the PGA doesn't really have much leverage because you can't keep people out of the majors. And
correct.
so it's just super interesting to learn about. I have not watched many of the tournaments. I've heard mixed reviews on the presentations. So
Yeah.
how was the Live tournament on the CW?
Yeah, so that was my after you brought it up to me, I did a little research. I hadn't looked into it a lot. I just remember the some of the PGA players getting upset about certain guys going over there. But I thought it was cool. The only two things I didn't like, or maybe I'd have to grow on it, is the music. They're blaring music the whole time.
Mm,
And for me, that takes a little bit of the class of the game away.
yeah.
I'm like, I don't feel like you have to do that. You don't have to necessarily, like, they have a cool format, the 54 players or whatever, 54 holes, nobody gets cut. You got the team aspect of it, which is kind of fun. I was thinking cut the music. It takes away from the class a little bit. And then the shotgun start, where like everybody starts on a different hole, it stressed me out. 'Cause I watched the first 10 minutes and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna have to pause this and like come back when they're in the middle of the tournament. And then it was a little easier. But the beginning of it is just everyone's teeing off on a different hole at the same time. And so
So
the
did they go
camera,
shot to shot?
yeah, they just go shot to shot with the camera. And I'm just like, okay, it was overwhelming. You're like, I want to be laying on the couch. Like on Sunday, you're watching the fourth round of a PGA tournament. You're just laying on the couch, chilling, kind of laid back. It's kind of a one of those sports.
Mhm.
But I think it's cool. The team aspect of it, that makes it interesting. Um, makes it fun. And yeah, I think you're right in that the format is cool, but yeah, they got to clean a couple things up. And then they tried to get Charles Barkley over there. Did you know
Well,
about that?
yeah, I heard about that. I think he
That was
said, no,
like
I got enough
I
money.
think that was like a year or so ago. Yeah, he turned it down, but that's the difference maker. The three guys they have doing the commentating were kind of like boring.
They're no Jim Nance, huh?
Just, huh? Yeah, no Jim Nance. So change the commentators, and I think it'd be cool. But you should watch a couple of them. It's
How
interesting.
did the team format work on TV? Because I think they're trying to be like Formula One, where it's an individual sport, but there's also a team aspect to it.
So, I mean, it's not like they all. I thought the teams were going to tee off together.
That would be
The
fun.
teams, the teams teed off at different locations, and so you had like the leaderboard, but they also had their team name by them, and then down at the bottom you had like the top four team scores going on. So like John Rahm's in third, but whatever his team's called, Legion of something eight, Legion of Boom. They're like they won the tournament, so they're tracking at number one. So he's got like his little pink, logo up by his name, and then he's wearing the shirt and all that. So
hmm
that was cool. And then it would do like they'd show snippets of that team, say, oh, so and so's doing here, shooting 4 under, his teammates shooting 5 under, yada yada yada. So that was interesting part of it, but. At the end of the day, it came down to like a normal tournament. You're at the end, and it was Sergio Garcia versus I can't remember the young guy's name who ended up winning it. Some guy from Chile.
Wonder if he
But it's
was
cool.
cold.
Oh yeah, he was very cool. No, they were playing in
Chilly and
Mexico.
cold. Yeah.
It's fun. The money thing. So, what are your thoughts on the public investment fund, the Saudis? Is it there from a political moral standpoint? I was looking at it purely from a gamer
hmm
sport standpoint. What I think that's the biggest issue with the players ultimately. they feel guilty for taking the money.
I think they did until where the PGA really screwed up was so the PGA guilted all the players and were like, what did the guy say? The commissioner said, we're here in New York and these guys who joined the Saudis look in the eyes of these 9/11 families and blah, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And so they helped they kept the moral high ground and correctly. And then last year out of nowhere, they all of a sudden announced, oh, we're doing merger talks. And so you kind of lost all the moral high ground there and you lost your leverage point. And so from a negotiation standpoint with the players themselves, especially the established players who've won the majors, you really have, why should Jon Rahm feel guilty? The PGA's already negotiating with them.
Yeah.
Why should, and even Rory's kind of taken I maybe took a too hard of a stand. I can't remember his exact words, but he kind of seems like he's backed off the issue a little bit as more people who are his friends are joining too, instead of just people who, he dislikes and are generally dislikable or controversial, quote unquote. So from a player perspective, it seems like, I don't know, you don't, unless you're Tiger, all of a sudden you're offered $200 million. That's world-changing money. That's generational wealth. What are you supposed to do?
I'm going.
Yeah. So I did this with, have I ever asked you what your Saudi Arabia number is?
I think you did.
So what was it? So you do the same job, but they offer you X amount of dollars for 1 year or for 2-year contract. What's the dollar amount for you to go to Saudi Arabia and do exactly what you're doing?
I'd do it for 10 mil.
Yeah. I'd probably do it for
10 mil cash after tax. I'd be like, sure.
Yeah,
for a year?
I'd do it
Why not?
2 or 3. I'd be way less than that. I mean, let's do it.
I'd probably do it for 2 or 3. Yeah.
Maybe.
I'd say 5.
What if they put the paper in front of you? It's a little hot over there. I don't know. I sweat a lot.
I don't want to get
Got the pit sweat. Got the swamp sweat.
Sunburn. Wait,
how much aloe vera they got over there?
What's the absolute best? What would be the best outcome for the PGA LIV thing?
The best outcome for humanity would be for them to merge under the name of the PGA and the public investment fund be a silent investor. I think they invest in Uber and Starbucks and a few others. They have investments in a lot of these public traded companies. And so, Starbucks. but no one cares because then it's you don't really have a choice. I mean, what do you do? Not watch golf? Like that's your choice. And so you're like, well, I'd rather watch golf than take a stand where no one cares. And so that would be the best outcome for most people is they take some of the things, kind of like the ABA. The ABA gave us the 3-pointer. It gave us the dunk contest. It gave us free-flowing basketball. It gave us Dr. J. Like those are the 4 best things to ever happen to the NBA. And they all came from the ABA. So with LIV, you think they probably bring the team aspect over. They probably bring over some of the shorter tournaments. They bring back Jon Rahm.
Yeah.
They play at all of Trump's golf courses, all the good stuff.
Yeah. I think they played one there a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm. They played.
You bring up a solid point. The 3-pointer. Are we going? You want to segue into our quicker topics?
Let's do it. Interstitial. That's the sound they do. Like a choo-choo-choo. Number 5, the 3-pointer.
Steph, Sabrina.
Ooh. So Sabrina.
First off, do you like this? Your brother, what did he say in his text message? That was hilarious.
Oh, what was it?
He said this is like a segue or the closest thing we're going to get to the DeMarcus Cousins versus Brittany Griner.
Oh, yeah. It's a no-win for Steph because if he obliterates her, then he's the bad guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Even did you watch the not the promo, but the very forced, mic'd up conversation Steph had?
I don't remember. I've seen it before, but I don't. I saw it today.
He was warming up before the game, and he's like talking to the rookie on his team, and he's like, you know who the best? I think he's like, who had the best 3-point competition performance or something. and the other guy was like knew it, said Sabrina. It just felt forced. The whole thing feels kind of like, are we trying to promote the WNBA that hard, or is it? That's yeah. I
Yeah,
think
but like,
Sabrina's gonna lose. Is what's gonna happen. Steph's gonna win.
part of me hopes that just because then you won't have people saying, "Oh, this was fixed. This was rigged." Because
Yeah.
who was the girl who could dunk? Candace Parker. You remember that dunk contest in high
Candace
school?
Parker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So from my memory, the guy does this awesome dunk. Like that wasn't a 360 behind the back, but that's what it felt like. And everyone's like
Yeah.
8. And then she does the whole like blindfold, but her arms up here, and you're like, I think she can see and dunk. They're like, oh, 10, 10, 10. I'm like, that's not
You're like,
a
nah,
10.
man.
That's not a 10.
Yeah.
The other dunk was better. So yeah, I hope
Yeah.
the best case scenario is Steph wins by 2 or something, a close game where they both
Close.
shoot well, but it doesn't feel like it's forced, because that's what's the same thing with the conversations. They feel like they're forced.
Yeah. He is shooting. He's shooting NBA. She's shooting from WNBA.
I thought they said she was going to shoot from.
I thought so too, but I right before we signed on,
Oh,
I brought up the NBA.com thing. It says Steph versus Sabrina will follow standard 3-point contest rules. Curry will shoot from the NBA 3-point line with NBA basketballs. And how do you say her last name? Ionescu?
sounds great to me.
From the WNBA 3-point line with WNBA basketballs.
We're not talking about Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
We're not talking about her.
Oh, that changes everything. Shoot.
Yeah. That'd be a lot different. I will say this. When I was younger, my older sister had a WNBA ball that she would shoot with at the house.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'd go shoot with that thing. That thing can rip off your hand because it's got like the different, it has like the separation, the different colors. Like the little ribs on it, they're easier to grip.
Oh.
So I'd like to see Steph shoot with that. That'd have been fun.
I know in the international game, the international ball is also smaller, just a little bit. So
the FIBA or whatever,
mm-hmm.
It's slicker too, right?
That I don't know about. I just know I followed Luka Doncic a little bit for Real Madrid back when he played there. And I was so happy when Luka Doncic got drafted by the Mavs. And I did not think he'd be this good. So
you should throw that jersey. If you still have that jersey?
Oh, of course I do. I love that jersey.
Throw that thing back there.
I gotta find it. It's not in the bucket today.
What was the other? I was gonna say we re-emphasize, and I think I changed my mind today. I'm gonna give you a conflicting answer. My
You're
Super
Democrat
Bowl
now? Oh,
I'm not. No. Super Bowl. I got the Chiefs pick to win 35-31.
Oof.
But my MVP, I was on a walk earlier and I was like, man, it's going to be Christian McCaffrey.
Whoa, that would be the second loser to be MVP other than Chuck Haley for the Cowboys in Super Bowl 6. There's only one loser MVP, and it's for the Cowboys.
I think the difference maker, he's going to get a lot of rushing yards. He's probably going to have 80 rushing yards, 80, 90 receiving yards. And I think there's going to be a point in the game where they get not desperate, but they need to score. And they're going to put him back at punt return or kick return, and he's going to take one back.
Oh, that's a bold one.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's going to have 3 kinds of different, maybe even 4 touchdowns. He
Chuck
might have
Howley.
he might get a pitch pass and then catch one, run one, and return one.
Okay.
He's going to ball. Christian McCaffrey's going to ball out.
Breaking news, Christian McCaffrey good at football. More next.
I thought you were about to say he's out for Sunday.
No. So I think if he plays, it's my preface for if he plays, the most important player, and it could be for good or bad, is Kadarius Toney.
Ooh.
Now, I'm not saying MVP. I'm saying because he had those 4 drops against the Lions that cost them the game. And I'm but then last year, I think Mahomes was the MVP technically.
Probably.
Yes, he was. But Kadarius Toney changed that game with the 2-point conversion, the punt return. I think he had a touchdown too. He had a 2-point conversion and a touchdown on the same play, basically out and then back. It was just the same play, just on the different side. And he had a huge punt return, so completely changed the game for them.
That was last year?
That was last year, because he did it against. He was traded from the Giants last year, playing like 2 games. This is what he does every year. He disappears for a while, then he's great, and you're like, wow, this guy's got so much talent. Like, yeah, he's a first rounder. This is an all-pro player, and then he disappears with random injuries and cursing out the Chiefs on Instagram. And he's like, no, I was saying that about a different team. Okay, whatever you say. But yeah, he's just a weird. I don't know if he's a weird dude or it's just a weird situation, but I think he'll be the X factor in some way, shape, or form, positive or negative. It's kind of like Gollum in Lord of the Rings. You're not sure if he's the bad guy, the good guy. Spoiler, he destroys the ring. It's been 60 years since it was written. You should have read it by now.
There's always somebody in the Super Bowl or in like a Game 7 who steps up and you're like, what in the world?
Where did that guy come from?
I did not expect that guy to ball out in the championship game. And they do.
Mm-hmm.
People step up. Toney. Okay. I like that. So you're calling, he's your MIP. He's your most important player. Okay.
Like I said, I don't know if it's good or bad.
I would agree with that. I think that'd be.
But it's
going to be interesting.
The crystal ball's a little foggy.
I think you're on to
see his face. And he always wears that like full hood thing where you just see he's just an interesting fella. Like you don't want to be in the car with him, kind of in a weird way. You're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's about to just like fart or
you don't want to be in the car with him.
Or like he's the type that when
want to ride with him.
Yeah, you order and he's like, I forgot my wallet, and you're like, oh, God, Ken, man. All right.
Bro, we're at McDonald's.
You haven't paid me back for the last 2.
Or he just like walks back there and starts taking apple pies.
You're like, yeah, let me just get a couple of these. It's one of those weird guys. Oh, who is the comedian Brett?
That I told you about?
Yeah. What was his name? What was the last name?
Bert Kreischer?
Yeah, Bert Kreischer. I have seen him. He's the machine. I've seen that
He's
bit.
The machine.
That bit's hilarious. Yes. So did you know? Yeah. I found out today they made a movie of the machine. I
saw that. Yeah.
And
I haven't seen the movie, but I know they made one.
So I watched the preview, and it's today's time, and then so it flashes back to when he's the machine, and then he's at his kid's birthday party, and Luke Skywalker. What's that guy's name?
No way.
Yeah, he plays his dad. Mark Hamill. That's his name. Yeah, Mark Hamill plays
in the
his
movie.
Dad.
In the new movie.
And they're like, "Yeah, machine." He's like, "I'm not the machine." And Mark Hamill's he didn't really do that. Stop saying that. And then some Russians break in, like, "Are you the machine? You stole this from my father 20 years ago." And then like, there's this whole. So he's in this weird shoot 'em up movie that I think is supposed to be this kind of. Yeah, it's on Netflix, I think. So
is it on Netflix?
To give that a. Yeah, I think it's because he's signed with Netflix. So Machine movie 2023 film. Yes, on Netflix. So yes, seems like it's going to be a good, interesting movie review next week.
Yeah, I'll tune into it. I love his stand up. I remember seeing the preview for that. Whenever I was like, we'll see how it goes. But maybe it's funny.
His stand up was pretty funny. I enjoyed him. One of the others you told me I was kind of meh on. I'm an old man.
Or Theo Von?
Theo Von, yeah. Maybe we just picked the wrong one, but there was so much profanity. I didn't know what to do. I was like, he's just cussing all the time.
What was he? Yeah, his stuff is. He's weird. I mean, he's really obscure. I'd say that. I love the guy. I think it's hilarious, but I probably wouldn't watch him with my dad.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So, yeah.
Music.
Yeah, what'd you want to talk about with the music? Did you do a review?
I did. I listened to 2 21 Savage albums, excuse me, the last 2 days. So after I got married, I don't know what happened. I just stopped listening to music.
Yeah.
I just I don't know. I just started gradually losing the desire to listen to new music. It just went, and then once I had kids, it went to zero. And
That's crazy.
yeah, I just lost all desire. Didn't even want to try. Kind of just listened to the same 4 songs of this workout mix that I listened to, and then that's it. And I've been listening to audiobooks because I'm old, and podcasts, and I just have not gotten into music at all in the past 4 or 5 years. So yeah, I asked you for music suggestions. You suggested 21 Savage.
Yes.
And the extensive review. Let me pull my notes here.
And mainly because he had a new album come out recently, but also, he's at the top of the game right now. He did an album with Drake last year.
Overrated.
And 21 Savage he's top 5 and he's not 5 at the moment.
So I really actually enjoyed his music quite a bit. So that'll be my first review. So let's see. So the first thing he does that I think really well was 21. He just keeps the 21, 21, 21. It's a really good rhythmic way to do it. Some of his songs, I'm just not as angry anymore. So I don't I don't like the angry ones as much. Letter to My Brother was my favorite one. Brudda was my favorite one on American Dream. All of Me was great. NHIE was great. And there's one more Dark Days I thought that was beautiful. Now I love sad poetry. So that I thought was beautiful sad poetry. So those were the top 4 songs. His beats are phenomenal. I like the work he did in the background. And once again, 21 is a great way to kind of reset the rhythm of the song. So that album, it's 15 songs, and I really liked 4 of them. So that's pretty good.
That's
and then
pretty
the other
solid.
one, I was like, yeah, okay. And then I listened
to his newer album is to me, it's a different vibe than maybe some of his past work. But what other album would you listen to?
I listened to I Am Greater Than I Was. Now, we had testing today, and I was hall monitor, so I had to actually pay attention a lot to my work. But when I was on break, I got to listen to this album a lot. The first one, well done.
How much money you got? A lot. How many?
A lot.
Oh yeah.
A lot. So good.
So good.
I was jamming. I was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
That's a banger.
Yes. Gunsmoke. Yes.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Letter to My Mama. I'm a sucker for family songs.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm a real sucker for those. So those were probably my top 3. There's one more I liked, but I can't remember which one it was. Maybe Padlock. But yeah, those are my top 3 of that album. And yeah, overall, great suggestion. 5-star suggestion there.
A Lot is probably one of his top 5 songs.
I think I'd heard it before. I know I heard that before, but it's just, that's rhythm. Like, you're hitting all the right spots there. So yes, phenomenal choices.
You want to be real cool. Some people call him Sir 21 Savage the First.
Oh, okay. Yeah. His Majesty, because he is British, I think. He's the British-American pop singer who was raised in Atlanta, I
heard he almost got deported recently.
Deported back to Britain.
I was telling a guy today at work that I told you to listen to him. And they were like, yeah, didn't he almost get deported? I was like, I didn't. Maybe. Maybe during COVID or something. But
let me Google search deportation. Deport. Oh, yeah.
Deportation.
Oh, because he was arrested by ICE in 2019. Officials revealed his status as a British citizen who entered in July 25 and unlawfully overstayed his H-4 visa that has expired in 2006. So he had overstayed it by 13 years.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm sure can you buy your way out of that?
Well, it says that his lawyers stated he was illegally residing U.S. resident several years prior to his visa. And in 2023, he announced he became a permanent resident and received his green card. So looks like he did. Whether you want to say buy his way out of it or, however you want to say it. Whatever's good. Whatever's good, man.
So overall, 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Whoop.
Yeah. You're gonna have to listen to them more. I'll find some more for you. We'll make
Thank you.
a little segment.
Yeah, a little musical.
21 was a good suggestion.
Writing that in my notes. 21
Yeah.
Savage. Yes.
21 Savage the first. I think closing argument for me is we got the NBA trade deadline tomorrow, which I haven't seen anything crazy going on yet. I looked at Twitter right before I signed on here to see if anything had hit yet, and I think the only bigger name that I've seen thrown out there is the Murray guy on the Hawks or DeRozan with the Bulls, potentially going either to LA or somewhere else.
He's out for the season, isn't he?
I don't think there's any DeRozan.
Yeah, isn't he? Didn't he have surgery?
I don't think so. I think he's still good to go.
Maybe it was the other guy. You know what? It was.
Oh, you're thinking of Lonzo.
Yeah.
Lonzo's out.
Chicago Bulls team.
Anybody else lingering out there that you've heard? Like, I don't know if there's going to be like a big name.
Oh,
big
Zach
trade
Levine.
Levine.
He's out. He's out. That's what I was thinking.
He's out. Yeah, he shut it down. And I heard that he was told by Clutch Sports, Rich Paul, aka LeBron's agency, they told him to do that.
So go ahead and shut it down for the year.
Shut it down for the year. So probably
that
contract injury thing.
So here's my take on it. I don't think anything big will happen. The Bucks already made their deal. The Suns are stuck. Like, I think the Suns are kind of like the Mavs, where I actually think they've really screwed up. I think,
honestly,
yeah, I think they've screwed up.
Lakers,
I think the new owner impatient. Lakers are screwed. Well, and then the other thing is you have the new,
the CBA.
The new CBA comes in next year, where you have these 2 tiers of. There's no just luxury tax dollar for dollar. It's like these 2 tiers. And then if you go into tier 2, you can't take on salary. There's a lot like a penalty. You can't trade draft picks. Basically, you just got to draft and be great if you're in tier 2. And so, because the last CBA was designed for a team like the Warriors now, or a team like OKC in the future, where you've drafted wonderfully, or people have signed on at the right time at the right price. And you can just keep extending them. And then you couldn't sign a new player, but you can keep the ones you drafted. So it's a way for Portland to keep Lillard. It's a way for Harden to stay in Oklahoma City, or KD to stay in Oklahoma City, or Russell Westbrook to stay in Oklahoma City. But none of them did. And so it ended up kind of failing that idea. But, this new one, I think a lot of people are kind of scared. And I think in the future, it's actually going to drive contracts down as percentages, because I think people are going to be really scared to go into the tax. So I don't think a lot will happen. I think Andre Drummond might be the biggest name moved.
Yeah, I saw
if
that.
The Mavs are smart, they'll hold on to their draft picks, except for maybe their second rounders.
Yeah,
because Drummond's a big name, and then PJ Walker. There's someone who's a big name.
PJ Walker. I don't even know who that is. I've heard Markkanen's name thrown out there too.
Oh, PJ Washington is probably one of the bigger names, and he's still kind of nobody. Miles Bridges might be traded, but he's got legal issues, I think. Is he the one with legal issues?
I wouldn't touch. No, that's well, there's 2 Bridges. I think the one on the Nets, I've heard.
Nash Bridges?
One's Mikal. Mikal Bridges is on the Nets, and
is he the one who did the?
He's not the guy on the Hornets. Is the Bridges that did something bad? I don't know what he did.
Okay. Well, my apologies.
He got in a fight with his girlfriend or something like that a couple times. But
he's on the Hornets guy is on an expiring contract, which is why he's so hot right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like the deals have already been made that are going to be made.
Thinking. I don't think a big move's going to happen. I think
Siakam already went. That's the other one. The Raptors already kind of dumped.
If the Bulls dump it'd be cool to see Caruso go somewhere fun. Alex Caruso, former Aggie
And Laker
former
great.
Laker champion. I don't think he'd go back to LA, but he's only got like a $9 million contract, so he could be easier to move.
It's really not bad. Go for the Mavs. They're probably gonna want a first rounder.
It'll be fun. He's a defensive guy.
Is he? Then I want him.
And
Give
he
him
can
3
ball.
first rounders.
He can dunk as well. Yeah.
Might be the exact guy to the Mavs need. What you got going on next week?
Next week. I don't know. Nothing too crazy.
I try to sneak away for golf one of the days.
Yeah?
That's my goal.
We should
gotta golf in February.
We should pick a weekend at some point, and I'll come up and meet you, and we can get some golfing. Just for the day. Me and my pops have done that a couple times. I'll meet him in Dallas and golf and go home.
What are you doing for the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl? I'm going to watch it.
You're going to watch it in Austin?
Super Bowl might be harder. Driving back at night, something like that.
Yeah. All right,
we'll
fine.
See. We'll leave it out there. I'm not saying no. You don't have to emotionally distance yourself.
That's fine. I'm so sorry.
Any fun closing statements? I'm going to shut it.
I'm
going to stop it.
Until next time.